You need help?
Yeah.
I'm in on the comment, guys. You guys heard that help.
There's a woman's waiting for that.
What do you need help with? Do you need help with getting a message across? Turn it up a little bit.
Alright, so you're in the Bushnell House. This is the addition, the new addition. It was built around 1850. So this is, we know it was 1850 because Elvira's husband died in 1853. And so she was pretty much a widow with small children, so she couldn't build it. So 1850 for this portion of the house. Her husband died. I don't do a lot of dates because I'm not always good with dates. But he died in 1853, and then you walk through here, and this is the original portion of the house. So this is 1838.
And that's the oldest date.
This is the oldest date. That was when the property was purchased in 3 transactions. The final transaction was 1838, and then they built the house. So we figure that the 6 people, 5 of the 6 people that died, because the last one died in a hospital, were laid out. This would be the room that they would have been laid out in for the funeral. Elvira lost her husband in 1853, 2 of her children in 1860, 2 months apart, and then her 3rd child died in 1865. She was married. So pretty much from 1865 until she died in 1901, she lived here by herself. So she kind of got they said she was a spinster, she was a recluse, she lived here by herself. So there was a lot of rumors on how she died. I can tell you the rumor because it's not true, just so you know. They say that she hung herself in the backyard from a tree, but she was in her late 80s when she died. And I don't know too many old ladies in their 80s that can climb up on something and hang themselves from a tree. She died in the backyard of natural causes. So then you have would have been the main room. We'd love to know what kind of activity you get in here. We think that this was the room, would have had a fireplace there because there's a chimney on the outside of the building, but behind that cabinet there's no fireplace and any opening. So this would have been the main room. And there was a 30-year time period that we have no idea who lived here because the owners lived out of state. So we've had mediums that come in and that usually just shop here, and they'll give the owner a bunch of information. They said that they feel that it was used for prostitution and for prohibition, which would have been in that time period. Yeah. So you rent it to somebody, you're out of state, you have no idea what they're doing in here. So there could have been a lot of shady stuff. So there could have been more deaths in here than we know about. But as far as linked to who owned the house and lived in the house, there was 6 deaths. So you guys will be able to investigate. We don't usually let people open this and do anything in here. You can't go in there, but there's a cool story about this music box. Yeah, it's kind of weird. There was a gentleman here who was a medium who told me all this stuff about the house. We became friends. He sends me an inbox on Facebook and he says, I don't normally buy stuff from thrift stores, but I was drawn to this. And he's telling me what he's seeing and feeling, and I'm researching while he's typing it to find out who the music box belonged to. And he believed that it belonged to a child from the 60s or 70s who died when they were about 3 years old. and that the mother's spirit is attached to it. He told me, he says, I have small children, I can't bring it in the house, it has to stay in the garage. Right there's telling me. Not good. Then he says, but I'm going to bring it to the antique store for you so you can research it. I am not a psychic, I am not a medium. Having this is going to do nothing for me. I said, I have already done what I can do. He says, no, I'm going to bring it to you. But you can't take it in the house if you have kids. Well, I have a teenager. And I'm like, well, I can't bring it in the house because then you've got poltergeist, possible stuff. I come here about a month later, and the owner says, there's a present for you. And I go, what is it? She goes, it's a music box. I'm not taking it home with me. And she says, well, why not? I said, because I'm not taking on a music box home with me. So she says, what are you going to do with it? Immediately thought of this as a good place to hide stuff. So I put it in here, but I tucked it all the way in the corner. And it sat there for a good year and a half. We had the Parafest. I tell everybody about the music box. And a lot of times the door wouldn't open. And they said, well, we want to see the music box. And I said, well, if you can get the door open, you guys are more than welcome to look at it. They opened the door. And the first thing I say is, that's not where I put that. I had put it around the corner, and it was sitting there, but facing straight out. So it was looking right at you, and I go, Close the door. Last night I let the group open it. Oh, they opened the door, and the music box started playing by itself. So I'm like, yeah.
And that was last night?
That was last night.
So
you guys are more than welcome. You can't crawl in there, but you can open it and do whatever you want. And I'm fine with that.
Well, that's a creepy room.
This room?
Yeah.
Nobody likes this room right here.
I can see why.
This is the owner's personal vintage wedding dress collection. And it is very creepy. Everybody hates this room. With our, you guys come in. With our house team. We were filming, and my friend has thermal camera, and obviously inanimate objects will be gray on the thermal camera. It's nighttime. Every dress in the room is gray except for that one, and that one is blue. And we don't know why, because these aren't crystals. These are just little pieces of plastic. So it wasn't like they.
Floor, so we can test them.
Okay.
The lamps didn't have any heat to them. The fixtures didn't have any heat to them. Didn't have any cold, nothing, just this dress. Nighttime, every dress in the room is gray except for that one, and that one is blue. It's nighttime, every dress in the room is gray except for that one, and that one is blue. Everybody hates this room. So this is a good room to investigate. The closet is the one I was telling you guys you can look into. In here, a gentleman named Anthony stays in here. So
Anthony's a spirit?
Yes. From what we gather, we don't have a whole lot of information on him. What we've been told is that he is in the closet. Here, he refuses to leave. He refuses to move on because of something that he did in this house when he was alive, because he knows that if he does move on, he knows where he's going to go. This is another bedroom here. It's got vintage clothing and more wedding dresses.
That mirror looks kind of creepy.
I hate that mirror. I kept looking at it yesterday, thinking that if I looked at it, something was going to be looking, or there was going to be something in that room that wasn't, that you couldn't see. And then we have, this is her metaphysical room. This is usually a very calming room, but the last few times people have been getting activity in the public hunts in here as well, which were with all the crystals and the incense and the Palo Santo sticks and stuff like that. We figured it would be no activity in there, but it's starting to get active in
Maybe
there
the
as well.
spirits are drawn because of the
Could be.
metaphysical items. Hey guys, so as she said, we are only the third team that has came to investigate this location minus some public events. So it's relatively uncharted territory as far as what type of activity we're going to get here.
Right, and then outside, if you go straight to the back of the property,
Okay.
Walter.
Yep.
Walter's thing was he showed up and was talking about being upset about the headstones being missing. Where were the headstones? So we had people go out there, and they believe that in the back corner was a cemetery at one time, but we don't know if the bodies were moved, because back then in the 1830s, family cemeteries were on the property. Now, Elvira's husband is buried down the street. He wasn't moved. That's where they put him originally. And the whole family is there. But we believe that because when this property was first built on, the Bushnell family as a whole owned down a mile down the road. So this could have been the central location for their family cemetery. But we don't know if the bodies are still there or not. Also, a little side note, because we had somebody come through from another group during the Parafest that they saw a Native American, spirit of a Native American child by the tree line back there. Looking at a historic map and knowing we followed the stream that empties into Lake Ontario here. This was the area of an Indian village in the 1600s. So there's that possibility too, and nobody's ever done that possibility. So.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's it.
And where would the cemetery have been?
I'll show you.
Right over here.
Oh, back here.
That's one thing. Wally and was it Sydney from Bushnell House? They said that they've seen Native Americans on their land, and that's within 10 miles from here.
Yes.
So that's Native American.
Would be like a hunting ground type thing for them. Yeah, and traveling from one village to another. So that it would be between where those two trees are, in that area there.
So we might be able to get some spirit bottles or EVPs out here, maybe even.
And I tell everyone who comes about this, and none of them really come out here and look.
So this used to be a restaurant as well?
Yes. Yep.
For how long did it run as a restaurant?
I think about 20 years.
Okay.
And then
it
it was empty for...
restaurants have activity too, because there's a ton of flow of energy.
And that's who told the owner about Elvira, because they had activity where glasses would move and the silverware would be moving. And those two cabinets that are in that room by the bathroom, the two huge floor to ceiling, those were the serving stations where they would keep the glasses and the silverware and the napkins and everything. And they would have activity while they're standing there. They said they would hear their names whispered into their ear. And the owner's son worked in the kitchen and said that stuff would fly off of the shelves while he was washing the dishes. So.
You heard that footstep right behind you, right?
Yes, were you moving?
No, I thought it was you.